welcome to Choosing Acceptance podcast with your host, Marie Mason. I am here to share some success stories and tips on how to overcome your learning disability so that you can turn your talents into a career. And I love to inspire children and parents and teachers with learning disabilities to go beyond their limits so that they can make a bigger impact in the world. Schedule a call to become a guest on our show at calendly.com/Marie V. Mason. Welcome, everybody, to the Choosing Acceptance podcast with your host, Marie Mason. We have a great show lined up for you, and you don't want to miss it. On our podcast, we share great tips on how to overcome your learning difficulties and turn your talents into careers. We serve college students, teachers, and business owners by providing them with fresh content to educate, entertain, and engage our audience. Each week, we share some great resources to help you understand and improve your learning difficulties. Today, I am joined by my talented co-host, Ebuka Jestoc, who also handles our video editing and voiceovers for our show, all the way from Nigeria. Welcome, Ebuka, to our show, and I'm so glad to have you here. So on today's topic is understanding the importance of self-advocating. And before I bring up today's speaker, I'm going to share the top tips of the week, and then we'll go to a commercial break. Just to recap last week's episode with top tips of the week, we shared all about redefining dysgraphia regarding writing. Let's review last week's main topic, which was dealing with dysgraphia at work, which mentioned about self-advocating. That is a perfect lead-in for this week's main topic, which is understanding the importance of self-advocating. Here's my definition of self-advocating. It is the ability to share your needs with others so that you can get the right support that you need in order to reach your full potential. Today's topic for the top tips of the week is discover the 6 symptoms of dysgraphia. And we are just going to name them. 1, difficulty with writing. 2, poor handwriting. 3, trouble with spelling. 4, struggling with writing organization. 5, poor fine motor skills. That includes poor fine motor coordination, so it's kind of combined. And then 6, difficulty with writing fluency. Remember on one of our episodes called Autism is a Gift, where we shared how different symptoms can cross over from different learning difficulties. So if you recognize any of these symptoms of dysgraphia in yourself, then I really, really encourage you to go to a professional to get properly diagnosed, who can give you a better assessment of your situation and offer you solutions for your specific needs. At the end of the show, we will share some valuable resources and tools that can help you to improve your handwriting and expression skills within your writing. Before we bring up today's speaker, Ebuka, please take us to our commercial break.
And now, here is a word from one of our sponsors. We will be right back after this commercial break.
I'm Marie Mason. I am a business strategy coach. I run a mastermind group for online business owners where our members get to network, collaborate, and learn from one another in an exclusive environment. Our Business Academy takes a modern approach to business solutions by incorporating the latest technology and strategies to ensure that you hire a qualified team to handle your workflows.
Welcome back to the Choosing Acceptance podcast with your co-host Ebuka Jestoc. I handle our video editing and voiceovers for our show, and I'm joining all the way from Nigeria. We're excited to have you here with us again. The amazing Marie Mason has a varied and interesting career, from being a preschool teacher, an administrative assistant, a podcast consultant, to an author, a business strategy coach, international speaker, and our host for this podcast. Marie is passionate about inspiring people with learning disabilities to go beyond their limits and make a bigger impact in the world by turning their talents into a career. She has a wealth of knowledge and experiences to share with us today. Today's topic is understanding the importance of self-advocating.
Thank you for that great introduction. And do you have any questions for me, Ebuka?
Yes, I do. Why is it important to self-advocate in school or at work?
Great question, Ebuka. I wanted to discuss with you the importance of self-advocacy or advocating in either the school or work environments. We really need to be able to communicate clearly with our employers or educators about our needs, whether it's for additional resources, building flexibility into our schedule, or even continuing our training to improve our skills.
Absolutely. I completely agree. By speaking up, we can ensure that we have the tools and support necessary to excel and reach our full potential.
I see you've been doing research on today's topic, Ebuka. Good job. It's not just about benefiting ourselves, but it's also about our classmates or coworkers. As we become more productive and effective, it can ultimately benefit everyone around us.
Those are great benefits, Marie. I think learning to self-advocate in any situation is empowering. It allows us to become more independent and more in control of our own lives.
I couldn't agree with you more, Ebuka. People with learning difficulties need to learn how to stand up for themselves. This helps them feel powerful. It teaches them to ask what they need and what they want. It's really important to remember that we need to take control of our situations properly, which leads to the feeling of empowerment. And here are some examples of empowerment. In order to empower those with learning difficulties, we need to provide them with information about their rights, accommodations, and support systems that are available to them. We can also teach them effective communication skills and encourage them to express their needs and preferences. One way is to self-advocate is to clearly and assertively communicate your needs, your preferences, and concerns, as stated before. This involves using I statements, being respectful, of course, and also requesting specific accommodations or supports. I need this, for example. I need help with, understanding the importance of self-advocating is crucial in both our personal and professional lives.
Absolutely, Marie. Self-advocating is important because it helps us to protect our rights in order to get the support we need and improve our quality of life. What are some barriers that make it hard to speak up?
That's very true, Ebuka, and I agree. Yes, I can share some barriers that make it really hard to speak up. A lot of people who have learning difficulties usually experience such things as a fear of judgment, a lack of confidence, and not knowing how to communicate effectively. One of the things I have been experiencing myself in my lifetime is people tend to prejudge you because they hear you have a learning disability or a learning difficulty, and automatically they assume things about you because you have difficulties with X, Y, and Z that you're not capable of doing so much more. That's a false belief that's our society has generated in us over decades. It hasn't been overnight. It's been decades of people assuming that you're not capable of doing something because this is your problem. What I want to really do is help people to communicate more effectively on their needs so they can increase their confidence and not fear about how they're saying things, because I want them to feel more empowered to speak up and say what they need, basically, so that they don't feel like they have to hide behind a rock, so to speak. That's just a figure of speech. I really believe that we need to empower ourselves to get the help that we need in order to become successful in anything that we do. So, but there's a proper way of doing that.
Good points, Marie. That brings me to my next question. How can we empower those with learning difficulties to self-advocate?
Okay, love this question, Ebuka. It's an essential topic regarding empowering those with learning disabilities to self-advocate that needs to be addressed on today's podcast. So we can empower them by providing them with the tools that will enable them to understand how they're to know about their rights, as well as the resources that are available to them. Because sometimes it's just the not being aware of what's available to you as far as tools and training and knowing what your rights are. Because, as an employee, you have rights. As a student, you also have rights to certain resources. And sometimes you might have to just do your research and find out what those are, because not everybody is going to always be proactive as an employer in making them available to you right away unless they know what your specific needs are. That's why speaking up, telling people what you need, saying, I need help with this problem. Do you have a resource for this? Do you have a training for this? You need to be able to learn how to express it so that you can actually get those resources and accesses to them, okay? Whether you're at work or school, doesn't matter which one. But the key thing is knowing what they are and then understanding your rights and finding the best ways of asking for those resources. That's it in a nutshell.
Good point, Marie. I agree it's an essential topic. We also need to provide them with guidance on how to stand up for themselves effectively. Can you expand more on this topic?
Absolutely, Ebuka. We can definitely start by providing them with information on the types of accommodations that can be made for them that can help them learn better. They can actually use this information to advocate for themselves by requesting accommodations, like I was trying to allude to earlier, such as extending time for tests whether it's at work or at school, or alternating formats of learning materials. Like, for example, sometimes you might want a written instruction, sometimes you might need audio or visual instructions, because we all learn differently. Remember the 4 learning styles we discussed early on in the first 4 episodes of our podcast, that talked about that. So keep in mind, not everybody learns the same way, right? And then additionally, we can encourage them to develop self-awareness and which will help them with their self-advocacy skills. And we can achieve this simply by teaching them how to identify their learning strengths, how to challenge in those learning challenges, as well as how to communicate with them effectively to employers or even teachers. So That's it in a nutshell.
That's a great point, Marie. Can you think of any tools or resources that could help someone communicate their needs more effectively?
Yes, there are a few tools that come to mind. For example, someone could create a written list of needs and preferences, or use digital tools like email or instant messaging to communicate with their colleagues or teachers. I'm also going to double check and jump in here and say that, like I said earlier, for some people with a written expression as part of their challenge, then you might want to consider doing audio or visual kind of aids as well, and add that to your digital tools, because sometimes they say a picture is worth 1,000 words. So if you can find ways to use pictures in your instructions, or even if they're written, or use videos or audios to do explanations, and keep them short and sweet so that it becomes a more powerful message of instruction.
Those are great suggestions. Another tool that I've found helpful is using examples or evidence to support your requests. This can help to express your needs more effectively. Which brings me to the next question. Do you have any action steps in mind that can help people with learning difficulties to self-advocate?
Excellent tips, Ebuka. Yes, I have some action steps also that our audience can apply now. I think the first step would be to educate these individuals about, like I said, the rights and entitlements, both either at school or work. They need to understand what their rights are and what they have access to. And I really want to make sure that they to share this particular statement. I don't believe that they should be discriminated against because of their disabilities, because they have talents and skills they have developed to compensate for what they lack. So put those skills and talents to use. Find out what they are so that you can get the most out of their experience working with them. Because when you sit there and box them into all these different, this learning disability, and you give them the I can'ts or you can'ts, negative stories, that doesn't help build their self-esteem. Find out what they are capable of. Make sure that you help them to explore their strengths. Build on their strengths, not their weaknesses. Capitalize on their strengths even, and help them to shine, because they can become some really great model employees for you or model students if you just find out what those talents are and pull those talents out from them and let them shine in that environment and that skill set. Because one of the things about people with learning difficulties is that we have unique perspectives. We have learned to struggle and overcome our struggles and challenges because of our learning difficulties. We have skills that we have learned to develop because we've had to think of out-of-the-box ways of getting stuff accomplished, whether it was at work or school. So tap into that experience, tap into that knowledge and skills. You'd be really surprised at what someone with a learning difficulty can actually bring to the table, both at work and at school. So don't exclude them and don't isolate them. Bring them out. Give them the opportunities. Let them shine in there, because everybody has value. It doesn't matter if they're work, school, or in life. We all have value. And you need to understand what that value is that they bring and be able to pull it out of them and let them shine. And I'm not going to emphasize that enough, but that's it for that section. Hopefully that gives you all some tips. Like I said, Don't point fingers at what they can't do. Discover that right skill sets and talents that they have and highlight that and bring it out to the surface so that person can shine. Because everyone has value and can contribute to both work and at school.
That's a great point. What kind of accommodations can be helpful?
Great question, Ebuka. Accommodations could be anything from getting extra time exams, having access to assistive technology. Like I said, there's so many technology examples out there, so do your research. And then even having a note taker during meetings can help, having someone take notes so that we have running meetings and stuff like that. Once they know what accommodations are available, then they can advocate for themselves and they can ask what they need. I really believe it's knowing their rights is important for them to know how to communicate their needs effectively. I think they're integrated. So knowing what your rights are and then knowing how to communicate your needs effectively are extremely important.
Yes, that's true. That brings me to my last question. What are you offering our audience today?
Love this question, Ebuka. Thank you. My gift today is actually about sharing about our amazing community that offers additional support and resources for the workplace and at school. And if you are searching to find a supportive community mixed with teachers, professionals, and parents with learning disabilities of all ages, you can join our Facebook group. I'm going to be doing a lot in the Bubble Bears membership group. I'm going to start posting some of the resources from our show on there, some of the links in there. And they can also go to the Choosing Acceptance podcast YouTube channel, and I believe we have a Facebook group for that too. I have to double check with that, but regardless, the YouTube channel will have all of our episodes on there as well, so keep those in mind, especially if you want to go and join a community, right? So, question for you. Ever wonder what it'd be like to see the world through a dyslexic child's eyes or someone with a learning difficulty? Stick around for the end of our show to hear from one of our sponsors called Bubble Bears Books. The book called Bubble Bears Special Problem is available on Amazon. So go and grab a copy of my book and click on the Amazon link below and read the description on our YouTube channel and let me know what you think about the book, how it helped you. Please go to our show next week for more stuff to help you overcome your learning disability or learning difficulty. And with that, have a great week. Please close out the show, Ebuka.
I want to thank our speaker, Marie Mason, for sharing valuable information on this topic on the Choosing Acceptance podcast. Please join us next week for great tips on how to overcome your learning disabilities and turn your talents into a career. We stream weekly on our YouTube channel and Facebook group where you can collect all of our offers. Please make sure you like, share and subscribe to our channel. Thanks for watching. And now here is a word from one of our sponsors. Have a great week, everyone. That ends this week's show.
My name is Marie Mason. I am the author of Bubble Bear Special Problem. And this book destigmatizes learning disabilities in order to provide a better understanding of their learning disability process. It helps children to overcome their fear of learning disabilities so that they can contribute their talents by bringing awareness to how children should be treated in and out of the classroom. If you would like more to learn about this book, then go to Amazon.com and check out Bubble Bear's Special Problem by Marie Mason.